again this year. This team has been through a lot this season. What goes through your mind as you're preparing for another Eastern Conference final?
You know, I think we moved forward quickly from winning the last series to trying to get ready to play these guys. They're playing great. They're playing the best they've played all year. You know, obviously, anytime you're playing the Cavs, you know, everything starts with LeBron. And but I think everybody else, especially in that Toronto series, when you start looking at the numbers, just played terrific. And so I think that obviously it's a heck of a challenge. Should be a lot of fun. And our guys are looking forward to it.
How have you been able to keep guys understand this may be a young core that's still healthy, but guys continue buying into what you're preaching?
It's not. I mean, I think that's just a matter of who Danny has prioritized, drafting, signing in free agency, you know, trading for, you know, guys that are team guys that are tough, that'll work, that are committed to getting better every day. I think that, you know, and I think that helps when obviously that helps any team, but it helps when you lose guys because it's, you know, they really do have a great mentality of we'll plug in the next guy, and the expectation is that person will play well to their strengths.
Brad, how did going through the first 2 rounds, you know, going up against Giannis and Joel, kind of prepare the Celtics team with LeBron?
I think anytime you play in the playoffs, you're going to play against great players, but everybody's a little bit different. You know, I think Giannis, obviously, his ability to get transition, you know, lay it in 4 steps, the length of the court is ridiculous. The force at which he drives is like LeBron. You know, the difference is LeBron's shooting right now at a ridiculous rate, both on long 2s and on 3s. And, you know, and then guys like Embiid and Simmons present unique challenges in and of themselves. But, you know, again, everybody's a little bit different. But LeBron is considered the best for a reason, because he does all of that stuff well.
With the way they're constructed, how likely are you to change your starting lineup against them?
How likely am I? I mean, we're going to play every lineup, you know, and I think there's going to be a number of guys that are going to get the responsibility of guarding him. But then, you know, again, I think you know, Love had an incredible series against Toronto. Korver's been ridiculous. J.R. Smith started really going in that series. Like, we all know what those guys can do. George Hill got healthy, made a big impact. Like, they've got so many guys that are good players that we have to be alert not only to that LeBron matchup, but everybody else as well.
You haven't been able to rely on that institutional knowledge that I know you're a fan of as much this year, but with Marcus, you know, this is his fourth year in the playoffs, the 8th playoff series. How much is his experience kind of been a thread that you've been able to work?
Well, and he's a guy that's played well in the playoffs his whole career, and so I think that's something that we lean on him a lot. Even though he's a young guy by age, he's not young with experience. He's been in 4 straight playoffs, like you said. He's seen us, you know, have to play against all kinds of different styles. We've played these guys a couple of times, so you know, he's a guy you certainly lean on to not only, you know, be who he is on the basketball court, but also to, you know, be not only enthusiastic but step up to these challenges. He's been great in the playoffs.
Brad, how you guys played Redick kind of preparing for Korver, because he's kind of just saying you cannot let him get a clean look?
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, I think, you know, when you start talking about guys coming off screens, I mean, obviously a couple of years ago, Ray Allen, a couple of other guys get into that mix, but now kind of, you know, guys that are just kind of the best shooters running off screens, you probably start with J.R. Smith, Kyle Korver, and J.J. Redick, right? And so, you know, I think that there are some similarities there. Cleveland's got 2 of them in their starting lineup, so it's quite a challenge.
What about their defense? Brad, does that hinder how you play your defense when you decide to double LeBron and get the ball out of his hands?
I mean, you know, LeBron's a special player. I think you just try to make it as difficult as possible, as hard as possible, you know, and you got to be great on everybody else as well. I mean, it's quite a challenge, but, you know, doubling him, he is going to get 3 for his team. So if you don't double perfectly.
What about their defense? I'm sorry, Brad. What about their defense?
Yeah, it's been really good. They've been blitzing quite a bit. They'll blitz without a screen. They'll blitz with a screen. When they go to their bench, they switch even more so than maybe they did in the regular season. They're very long, they're big. You know, they can do a ton of different coverages, especially with that first group, because they have so much experience. You know, I think, you know, if Korver and LeBron and J.R. Smith and those guys and Kevin Love, George Hill, you know, you're talking about guys that have guarded every which way for a lot of years now. So they know how to play, they can adjust quickly, they're good at adjusting quickly, they're good at covering for one another. And I think obviously they played great in that Toronto series on that end of the floor.
Any further updates on Shane Larkin?
No, he's not. He won't play in either of these games, and like I said earlier, I doubt we see him this series.
Brad, you mentioned yesterday about the mental toughness of this team. How is that developed, and can it even be taught?
Well, first of all, you know, I think that mental toughness, being able to move on to the next play, being able to do the next right thing, is something that can grow within somebody for sure. I mean, if I look at myself as a 20-year-old player, there's no way that I would have had the mental fortitude that you have after 20 years in coaching, right? And I think that players get better with that all the time, and I think that you know, it helps when you've got great role models in that regard. But mental toughness and toughness in general to me is not like, you know, being the most physical, obviously, or just being able to make the big shot. It's being able to do your job on the next play every single time. That's hard to do. That consistency's not for everyone, and that's why it's the mark of, you know, really good players.
Brad, how different is it preparing for a playoff series against the Cavaliers team that doesn't have Kyrie this time around?
Obviously, last year with Kyrie, a lot of the times LeBron would have plays where he would be a spacer, you know, for parts of the second and third especially, and Kyrie would, you know, Kyrie really hurt us in games 3 and 4, 5. And then, but, you know, they've just figured out a way to play without him. You know, he is obviously incredibly difficult for us to guard last year, and, you know, we wish he was playing. But at the same time, this team has figured out how to be the best version of itself without him. And LeBron's taken over even more of a role. Like, there's more usage, there's more, the shooting has been incredible, on down the run.
You mentioned spending time with him the other day. How is he handling kind of the emotional aspect of this, missing this series? A lot of reasons it's pretty meaningful for him.
Well, I think it's really meaningful, but he's great. I mean, he's good at focusing on what he can control. You know, there's nothing he can do about missing it. You know, it was a unique set of circumstances that, again, he had an infection and had to have those wires and screws removed. And, like, it's unfortunate. He was down, I think, initially. I think that his spirits look better every single day. It's great to have him around here. So I feel good about it.
Similarly,
recovery going, Brad?
Great.
Similarly, Gordon Hayward posted another post today. Did you get a chance to read it? And just having him still stay invested while doing everything that he needs to do.
Well, yeah, he's been in Indy for however long now, and he's progressed, you know, nicely. He flew back this weekend, so he'll be at tomorrow's game. And he did, like, he was just out here as we walked through some things earlier. Let him be a part of the walkthrough, which was fun, just to have him back out here. But he's getting better too. But, you know, again, we're going to have to figure out how to be the best version of ourselves and continue on through the season without those guys.